Welcome to Real Women's Stories. This is my coaching episode. It's my midweek episode of Real Women's Stories, where I deliver some coaching practices. I have a little toolkit that I can share with you. This series, we are concentrating on Mel Robbins' Let Them theory. So she has written a book and released it, and it's literally blown up all over social media, over YouTube, over the podcast platforms. She has been number one in lots of countries internationally with her podcast, and her book has literally gone viral. It is incredible. So Mel Robbins is a real inspiration to me, and this is the reason why I wanted to concentrate on the Let Them theory for this series. And I am going to be delivering my coaching episodes based on the Let Them theory, which I'm going to be talking to you about during this episode. But I first just wanted to say one thing. It's taken me a while to record this because Mel Robbins is, as I said, is a real inspiration to me. And I just want to do the Let Them theory justice. I want to do her justice. And I don't want it to feel like I'm jumping on the bandwagon. I truly believe this theory works. My guest in my previous episode used it unknowingly, which I will talk about further along the line in this episode. But I have also been using it in my everyday life, be it with big situations, small situations. I'm going to be reading an extract from her book to explain in her words, in Mel's words, how the theory works, just so that I do the book and the theory justice, and so that hopefully the communication that I'm giving you and the way I'm explaining it to you does make sense. The whole theory is about us being able to live our lives and believe in ourselves and fulfill who we are as beings, be it men or women. It's about letting control go. It's about not trying to control people's behaviors, their actions, their emotions, their feelings. It's about releasing that control. The only people that we can control are us. We can't control anyone else. So the theory works on so many different levels. So I really hope that you find this coaching episode useful. It's going to take you on a little bit of a journey. So I do hope you have some time to yourself to listen to this. And if you are busy at the moment, driving or doing something, then do take a moment to reflect back on this episode, listen back to the episode. And when you have got a moment to yourself, because there's some real powerful parts and conversations that I'm going to be having with you, and some questions that I'm going to be asking you, which should help you take ownership back of your behavior, your beliefs, your desires, your life, in effect. It's about living our lives to the max, because, as in Mel's words, we only ever have one life, and let's make it as powerful and amazing as we can possibly can. I would just like to have a quick caveat. I'm not a therapist, I'm a coach. So if anything that does trigger you within the episode that I'm talking about, please do seek professional help. Go and speak to somebody who can help you in the right way, because this episode is about, coaching, reflection, and real talk about our everyday life and how we can use this theory in our everyday life. So let me jump in. What is the Let Them theory? Now, the Let Them theory has actually two parts of the theory. It's let them and let me. So the Let Them theory is about freedom. Two simple words, let them, will free you from the burden of trying to manage other people. When you stop obsessing over what other people think, say, or do, you finally have the energy to focus on your own life. You stop reacting and you start living. Instead of driving yourself crazy to manage or please other people, you'll learn to let them. Let me is the power move. That's why the let them theory only works if you say both parts. When you say let them, You make a conscious decision not to allow other people's behavior to bother you. When you say, let me, you take responsibility for what you do next. What I love about let me is that it immediately shows you what you can control. And there's so much you can control: your attitude, your behavior, your values, your needs, your desires, and what you want to do in response to what just happened. It's the opposite of judgment. Let me is all about self-awareness, compassion, empowerment, and personal responsibility. This is the crux of the let them theory. Let them and let me. The more you allow people to live their lives, the better your life will get. The more control you give up, the more you gain. So I'd just like to reflect for a minute. Pause and ask yourself, is there a moment where this could have helped me? Maybe a conversation with your kids or your partner, a situation where you're trying to help someone, but they just aren't listening or reacting in a way that you think is best for them. What if you said, let them, and take responsibility for what you did next? What might have changed if I chose me instead? So it's not about what you want the other person to do, but it's how we choose to think and feel. Would I feel more empowered by letting go of that control? Would it have given me more space and grace to then step into that power and gain control back? So by letting the other person just behave the way they are, instead of me trying to control that person, I can then feel more empowered, and I'm in control of what I have control over, and that's me. That's not the other person. We can't control anybody else. We can't control their thoughts. We can't control their feelings. We can't control their emotions, their actions, their behavior. So if we let them behave the way they want to, but then how about if we let me get my control back? Let me feel more empowered. Let's think about how we can use this in our everyday life. Now, remember, the let them theory is two parts. It's let them and let me. If you are walking right now, I'm going to throw a couple of questions out to you. So if you're driving the car, or if you're out for a walk, if you're doing stuff while you're listening to this, just let these questions land with you, and then replay this episode and reflect on them. If you are able to, just take a moment, step away from what you're doing, get into a nice, calm, quiet zone. And I'm going to ask you some questions which I'd like you to think about. And this is all based on the let them theory. These questions are going to start shifting things inside of you, even if you don't have the answers just yet. So just take a moment, pause from the world, and let me ask you these questions. What dreams or ideas have I put on hold because someone made me doubt them? Have you ever thought of something, thought of a really good idea, but you kind of had that ego going on in your head and that self-doubt comes in? Have you ever had any of those ideas? Not write them down. If I trusted myself as much as I worry about them, what would change? How would it feel just one day not to think about anyone else's opinions that create the self-doubt within you, that stop you from doing the things that you want to do, or the idea that you have, or the dream that you have? What if you didn't carry those opinions around with you just for one day? How do you think you'd feel? Has there been a time where you've confused love and loyalty with needing to be understood? Have you had a time where you have confused loving someone or feeling loyal to someone with needing to be understood? Because that's a difference. What truth about me am I tired of hiding? So is there something deep inside of you that you know to be true? That is true. Your intuition tells you it's true. You don't want to hide it anymore. What if you didn't hide that truth? What if you didn't hide that belief about yourself? Pause and breathe and think about those questions. You don't have to have the answers right now. How about just pick one of those questions that kind of pulled you? Just start there. Start with that one question that I asked. Replay those questions. And the one that stands out to you, just think about answering that question in a safe, calm space that's yours, where you have no distractions, where you have no opinions, where you have no disbelief in yourself. If you are true to yourself and honest with yourself, think about the answer to that question and just see what comes up. It's a really good practice because you never know what could come up, and it could be the shift that you need. It could be that thing that you were thinking of doing. It could be that change in your life that you could start working towards. How about that? Because that's how the let them theory works. It's about taking control of ourselves and releasing the opinions of other people. We feel more empowered to be ourselves because we can control who we are, and we can't control other people, other people's thoughts, other people's opinions, other people's behaviors, like I've said. So think about what you can control with yourself, with your beliefs, with your truths, and how you can behave and how you can show up and react to situations that are going on around you. If anybody didn't listen to my previous episode, Lauren's a really inspirational person to me because she actually used the let them theory without even realizing it. Her partner told her that he was jealous of her. He was jealous of the fact that she had a creativity and that she had a gift that she wanted to share with the world. And her gift was something that she had a passion for and that she wanted to create a business with. And unfortunately, the relationship was quite toxic. But her pinnacle moment and her turning point was when she read an email from him that suggested that he was jealous of her. And suddenly, there must have been some kind of light bulb moment that she went through. She realized, well, if you're jealous of me, that must mean I'm doing something really good. Lauren used the second part of the let them theory in the way that she behaved. The let me. She let herself rise above her partner's jealousy. She realized that there must be a reason why this guy is jealous of me. So I'm going to build myself back up again. I'm going to let him carry on the way that he's behaving, but I'm going to let me be in control of my life, in my creativity, and what I want to put out into the world. And Lauren is now a successful entrepreneur. She has the most fantastic shop that she's created, and she has products that she's created. She's using her artwork. She threw herself out there into the world. She's been working with celebrities to create portraits of them. Now, she wouldn't have managed to do all of that if she hadn't unknowingly used the let them theory. So for me, this theory works. She let him, and then she let me. So by releasing the control over him and his behavior and being in that toxic relationship and turning the mirror on herself and letting herself behave in a way that only served her and served her purpose. And now she's an entrepreneur. She's doing fantastically in the world. So it just proves the let them theory does work. She had a dream. She didn't let his opinion stop her from doing what she wanted to do. So is there something that you feel that you want to do, an idea that you have, a change that you would like to make, but you're worried about what other people are going to say? You're worried about what other people are going to think. Why not release those opinions and those thoughts about what other people have on you and start thinking about yourself? And why not stop worrying about controlling other people and how they're going to behave, and just think about how you're going to behave and how you're going to show up in the world? So I've been using this theory with myself and with my family, especially in situations with my partner, my husband, my kids, even in work. You know, is there a time where you've been really cross with someone because they've upset you by what they've said or the actions, their behavior? Think about if you'd let them just carry on behaving the way they do, and then turn that mirror on yourself. And think about if you'd used the let me theory. How am I going to think about the situation? Can I just let them carry on the way they are? Let them get on with it, because nothing that I'm going to say or do is going to change what they're doing. It's about the way I behave. So how can I behave in those situations? If there's a real intense argument going on, maybe if you step back and you think, okay, I'm just going to let them get on with it, let them be angry, but I'm going to take a deep breath and I'm going to take a step back and I'm going to just allow them to have their say and have their vent and have their rant. And I'm just going to go, okay, I hear what you're saying. I acknowledge what you're saying. Then how can you then react towards them? Because if you calm your volume down, maybe their volume's going to calm down too. Maybe they're going to reflect on the way that you're behaving. I think that's a really good analogy in a fired up argument where there are two people going at each other. If you just took a step back and you were the bigger person and you just took a deep breath and you just slowed everything down and you decided that you were going to be the bigger person and you allowed that person to have that vent, but you were going to stay calm. Because if you let me stay calm, then that person does not have control anymore. They're in control of their own behavior and you are in control of your behavior. So the outcome is only going to be better, because when there's two people arguing, it's never going to stop. When there's one person shouting and there's not the other person who has a lower tone and who is not shouting, there's nowhere for that argument to go. That's why the let them theory works. You let them and then you let you. So I have given you a couple of examples today. We've done some reflection, we've done some questions. You know, hopefully those questions will be helpful to you and will enable you to use this theory in your everyday life. And it doesn't have to be big. It can be small little tweaks that you can make in your life. Just think, if there's a situation that's eating at you, that's frustrating you, that's stressing you out, that's making you feel a bit anxious, think about this theory and how you can use it. If you say let them, you are then going to release control of whatever that stress is. And then if you turn it on yourself and you say let me, how can then you show up in that situation? Think about how you're going to feel. I'd really like you and I'd encourage you to use this practice and just see what happens. Because if you use it and it's beneficial, then you can see how it can start making the shifts in your life. And then you can start using it in maybe bigger situations and bigger circumstances. It's all about putting this theory into practice, because once you put it into practice, you can feel and see how the shifts happen and how the changes are made in your life. And I would encourage you to go and get Mel's book. Go and read the Let Them theory. Come on this journey with me, because, I've read the book, but I'm going back and I'm rereading it again because there's so much gold in it. And each time I read it, I find something different. I realize the theory starts sort of making sense. So the first time I read it, it was, I really like this theory, but how am I going to put it into practice into my life? And each time I read it again, I then start using it. The theory then starts making sense to me. It's now ingrained in my structure of my day. I use it daily in all my practices, and I've been using it in my coaching sessions and helping my clients use it as well. It is such a powerful theory, and it's so simple. It is simple if you just let them and then you let me. So go and get her book and start reading it. And I have a huge announcement to make. You can win a day coaching with me, the Real Woman Coach. You get a whole day spent with me for one person, one lucky listener who enters the competition. On Sunday, June the 8th, Mel Robbins is performing live in London. And I have managed to get 2 tickets, one for me and another for one of you lucky listeners to spend the day with me, the Real Woman Coach, to have some coaching with me. And then we're going to go and watch Mel Robbins live in London, and we're going to get to meet her. I mean, how amazing would that be? Honestly, all the tickets are sold out. So to enter into the competition, it is so easy. All you need to do is go to my website, realwoman.coach, and there will be a pop-up screen which will say competition. And all you need to do is fill out the details in that pop-up. The competition dates are running from the 1st of May until the 1st of June, and I will announce the lucky winner on June the 2nd. To find out about the terms and conditions for the website, once you fill out your details on the pop-up box, there should be information on where you can find all the T's and C's, which will be highlighted for this particular competition. I just want to say I really appreciate you joining me on this journey and taking the time to listen to me and to appreciate the Let Them theory, because it is such a powerful tool and it does mean a lot to me. So if there's something that you don't understand, that I maybe haven't communicated correctly or that's confused you, you can reach out to me. Our email address has slightly changed because this is the coaching episode. You can email me. It's lisa@realwoman.coach. lisa@realwoman.coach. So I'm using my coaching practice email because this is all about coaching. This is to help you guys and to take you on a journey with me. And if you do want to coach with me, then you've got my email address. I really do hope I've done this episode justice for you and for Mel Robbins. And I hope you continue to follow me on this journey. We've got more insightful, impactful ways that we can use this theory as we go on in the series. Each episode is going to be based around the Let Them theory, my coaching episodes, after we have interviewed a guest, because we all face challenges in our lives. But if we just allow ourselves to let them, and then we just inwardly look at ourselves and let me, wonder what changes that we can make in our lives. This episode isn't going to just end here, really, because it's an episode that you can constantly come back to. The questions that I've asked you in this episode, why don't you ask yourself those questions weekly or monthly, whatever works for you? But they're questions that we can come back to because they're reflections. And it's about making us think, Are we living our lives based on what other people think and feel about us? Or are we being who we truly are, and we're living our lives for us without doubt, with self-belief, and with value, and with our own morals? It's so important, because in Mel's words, we only have one amazing life to live. So I'm going to end with a few words that Mel kind of uses in her book. And hopefully these will sit well and resonate with you. Let them say. Let them think what they think. You've got one wild and precious life. Let you be the one who decides what comes next. So if you want to decide what comes next for you, then you can catch me and listen to the next episode of Real Women's Stories.